Kits, I think, are the way to go because you don't have that cookie cut. Actually, fiberglassing painting, as you roll it forward, just kind of pressing it like this. As hard as a brick bat for a leading edge. One last thing on tip blocks is that you want to cut outside the line. Cougar build part 8, the formers. We are on step 29 in the manual. Come back. This is part 9 of the SIG Cougar build. This is a SIG Cobra. It's the 20 size version of the Cougar.
Hi everyone. I've been cleaning up my shop. It was covered in balls of dust. The shelves, you could put your handprint on the shelf, and it's about 1/16 of an inch of balls of dust and dust on those shelves. So I decided that I'd clean everything up, took everything off my bench, wiped it all down, sprayed it, slid the glass back over here, and just basically started on one end and went around. And I got to my shelf with my motors on it, and I started wiping them off and cleaning them up and wiping the boxes off. And I run across this. This is a Quadra 35, and it doesn't have a home. And I started thinking about that I like flying the bigger models. And I got this older, large engine sitting here doing nothing. I thought, well, maybe I can put it on an older style model, perhaps 5th scale something. And looked around my shop, and I got about 40 airplanes down here, all in excuse me, all in different aspects of being built, to 3/4 demolished, to needing repairs, that kind of thing. And I didn't have anything in all of that mess that will fit this Quadra 35, or this Quadra 35 to fit on it. So I went shopping. I went on the internet and started cruising around looking for either scale or sport scale or a sport model that I could fit this on. And I already have a giant Super Sportster, which is a pretty awesome plane. It flies great. Makes me look like I fly better than what I do. That's the kind of planes I like to fly. But I couldn't find anything really until I went into Tower Hobby's website and started carousing through their planes. I wasn't really looking for a kit or an ARF. It really didn't matter. I just need something this could sit on and I could go have some fun. And I'm not an ARF guy. Everybody knows that I'd like to build, but in this case, I have too many projects to settle down on another building project, because that would throw my other projects back. So I went on to Tower and I found this. Stay. Okay, I found this. This is a Phoenix Model P-40 Warhawk, extremely semi-scale. It takes a 35cc engine, which this is. After asking some questions, I found that this will fit in the cowl. And the only hole I need to poke into the cowling is a spot for this carburetor, which it's kind of unsightly, but it's a sport model anyways, so I figured why not. So I went ahead and I ordered it. Got a heck of a deal on it after all the little coupon thingies and stuff you can put on there. And I figured, since I got it, I opened up the box. Okay, I've got it home. It came to the house. Opened up the box, and I started rummaging through it, started taking things out, and then as an afterthought, my wife suggested I do this video on it, and I thought, man, I've already opened the box. I could have opened the box on camera, but I didn't. It's not going to work out. So I'm going to show you the stuff as it comes out of the box. Now let me tell you about the packing. When Tower ships you a plane, it comes in a brown box. In the inner box is the kit. And in the Phoenix model, the P-40, everything is wrapped up in, let's see, foam like this sheet foam. That's just pretty nice. The parts are wrapped up in that. And then, on top of that, let me get this piece here. It comes with this bubble wrap wrapped around each part. Some is smaller bubble wrap, and this is a large stuff that can take a good beating. And it's all wrapped up in that, and it's taped down into the box where nothing moves. I was very impressed because when I picked up the box, I didn't hear anything move. I thought, oh, that's interesting. They packed a lot of paper in there, but they didn't. They had it taped down with the bubble wrap. Not bad. It came, nothing was damaged. It's in great shape. I pulled out some parts and looked at it, and virtually hardly any wrinkles at all. The ones that were there were just minuscule, nothing to write home about. But I figured I'd show you the parts as I pulled them out of the box and kind of go over it real quick. Make this a real shorty video. So give me a second. I'm going to let's probably start with one of the wings, and we'll go from there. All right, brought the wings out, and this one's unpacked, but this one is not. Haven't even got it out of the package yet. You can see the bubble wrap. Set this off to the side. And this one is the port wing. But the starboard wing, okay, is right here. You can see that foam I was telling you about, and it's wrapped in the bubble wrap. Pretty nice. And I'm gonna move this out of the way. Okay, I've already peeled the masking tape off of the covers. Covers are right there. This one's plastic. It doesn't quite match the color. I don't know if you can probably see that, but it's close. It's a plastic servo tray. Fits in there pretty good. This one is not. There is a servo tray that goes in here. I think it's in the packaging somewhere. We'll get to that. Flaps. You have the hinges on the outside. That's kind of weird looking to me. And there is a problem here I noticed. Let me find something to poke with. If you go with what it is, see the way I jumped out? Now the flap won't go down. And you can see, let me turn it a little bit, that it's hitting right here. So it has to be moved over. I think the hinges are a little out of placement, so I might have to elongate the holes to get them straight, so this will go into where it's supposed to. I don't know, maybe it's coming out too far or something, but that's something I'm going to look into when I get there. The inside of the flap is painted, so there's no exposed balsa, which is nice. I'm not really sure where the horns go. I haven't looked at the manual yet. And these are pinned hinges on the ailerons as well. So just there it is. But very little wrinkles. I mean, little teeny tiny spots, which I'm not too concerned about. So that's pretty nice. That's the wing. It's the starboard wing. Let me put everything back on here. And I'm going to wrap this back up and set it off to the side, and I'll bring out the fuselage. Well, this is what the fuselage looks like. You can probably see that. It's fairly large. Up here are two little levers for to pop the canopy section off. It's doweled in the front. It's kind of an ugly looking guy. I don't know why they make his face almost yellowish green. But that's what happens when you don't make your own pilots and put them in there. But it's not bad. It's plastic from here to here, and Personally, that is the ugliest part of the whole plane, is this section here. The plastic sits above the turtle deck, so it looks like it's a stick, you know, a little stuck-on little gadget. They taped it down, it looks like, maybe with a little bit of glue. The interior has some cockpit detail, but nothing to write home about. It's a little bit offbeat as far as I'm concerned. So let me set this off to the side, right here. Let's look inside. You have the servo tray here. It's not the heaviest plywood I've ever seen. It's 3-ply, almost feels like light ply. Let's see what else. Fuel tank sits here in the front. The little pad there for it. There's a hatch here for, let's say if you want to put electric in it, you got access panels for that. The rudder is a pull-pull system. It'd probably be these guys here. The center ones are for the tail wheel steer. The outer ones are for the rudder. And you have dual elevator servos. You can see the two, let's see, the gray at the top here, and there's one also down here at the bottom for it's a hard wire push rod system. I'm not even sure how the wings go on, to be honest with you. I know there's a tube that goes through here, right there. And there's 2 slots in the wings that slide into, let's see, where are they? These slots right here, right there. And there's screws on the inside to screw those down. I'm not really sure exactly how that's supposed to go. When I put it together, maybe I'll show it again, and you'll see a little bit more accurately. There's the bottom. The monocoat job on the compound curves are mediocre at best. Back here is a hatch, so you can get into the tail wheel section, and the mount is already there. Okay, what else can I tell you about that? Let me look inside. Great big old gaping hole right to the top of the fuselage. Nothing, you can probably see down in there pretty well. Not much to that, not much to talk about there. You have to cut out a little spot in this piece where in the hatch for the tail wheel. And that's just a dowel and a lever type deal here. See if I can get it in the right spot. There it is. That's that. Put the top back down. Come on, get in there. And I got one that doesn't, there it goes. And that is a fuselage. Not much else to really tell you about that. It's bulky. It looks like a P-40, but that's as far as it goes. All right, let me grab something else here. I'm gonna move this guy out of the way somehow. Put him off this way. Hopefully you don't, excuse me, hopefully it doesn't flip off the table. I think it'll sit like that. Oh, this is the rudder. It's well packaged. I haven't even opened it up yet. Give me a second, I'll take the plastic off, or the bubble wrap off, and you can take a look at that. Well, here's the rudder. It has pin hinges also. They all have to be glued in, but this guy has no wrinkles. I'm impressed. But, yeah, there it is. Horizontal stabilizer and elevators. And you can see where they wandered from scale here, because it's supposed to have counterbalances out here. So the elevator would come out to about here and then come down, and It was actually part of the tip of the stabilizer, but no big deal. It's standoff scale. I don't care for these CA hinges. I'm not a big fan of those. I'll probably swap those out and use some kind of a pinned hinge to replace those. But absolutely no wrinkles in that either. Okay. Now in here is, let me find a blade to cut this with, is the fuel tank that hangs on the belly. That's what's in here. A little packet of screws, evidently, for attachment. There it is. I'm not really sure what that's made out of, but it don't sound like plastic. I have no idea. But that hangs underneath the fuselage. On the scale version of the real one, would have little braces coming down on both sides, holding it stable. This doesn't have that. Semi-scale. Can't expect the world from that. It's actually quite light. I'm surprised. Get this back in here. Huh. Easy open, hard to put back. There we go. More interesting stuff. This is hose for the retracts. It came with retracts. 90-degree rotating. That's the airline. These are the retracts. I haven't opened up these yet. Let's see. And the tail wheel. There's a tail wheel, kind of nice. It's spring loaded. There it is. Fairly stiff. Has a little aluminum bell crank on it for the pull. It's not retractable, but after looking at it, that wouldn't be real tough to make retractable. But I'm not going to go through that kind of work on an ARF. It's just not worth it. But nice tail wheel. The bracket down here that holds the tail wheel, the yoke, is plastic. That might be a problem, but the rest of it looks pretty good. And it's strong. I'm kind of surprised. It looks really good, except for the black plastic. The wheels are a little chintzy, but it doesn't have to be that great on the back of the airplane. Okay, now let's get into the bigger parts here. The retract. Oh, I don't know if I can trip this or not. Let me grab a piece of wire. See if I can get in here and trip this retract. Oh, doesn't want to trip. Nope. Oh well, I can't make it retract, so. But it comes down in it, turns this way. It's not the heaviest gauge metal on the retract. It looks a little light. I don't know how much of a beating they're going to take. Probably not much. You got to remember where it comes from. It's not like a Robart or a Spring Air or a Sierra or anything like that, so it's not going to be quite as heavy. So we're looking at butterfly landings just to make sure they don't break. But there's a pair of those. There's the other one. There's a gear right here that makes the mechanical rotation. Fairly stiff springs. And these are some kind of a cover. I'm not exactly sure what it covers, but it covers something. All right, retracts. Came with an air tank. And look at this. This is beat to pieces. Can you see those dents? Right there. And up through here. I don't think it's going to leak, but it is sure dented. I'll rotate it slow. Maybe you can see those dents. Oh yeah, yeah, they're popping out. There you go. I got my monitor right underneath the camera now, and so if you see me glancing down, I'm making sure that things look right for you. Airline connectors, and there's also a valve in here. Oh. Okay, 3T connectors. This is a, I don't know what that is. Looks like a check valve of some kind. Has an arrow pointing in one direction. Oops. Let's find out what this is. I suppose I could look it up in the book. I don't know. But that little white thing right there is an arrow pointing this way. Not sure what that's for. Let's take a look at the valve. That valve isn't too bad. Got an input up and down. One of the two sides is up or down. And I can't get it to move by hand. There it goes. Nope, pulled the cylinder right out. Nice and greased. We'll see how that works. If it doesn't work well, I got about 4 or 5 Robart valves that I can replace this with, but I'm going to try this one first. See how that works. Okay, that's everything I had on the table. I haven't got to the cowling yet. I am due at our flying field in, let's see, in about an hour or so. I gotta get out of here and get going. It's 10 after 2 and I gotta be there at 3, and it's a 40-mile ride and I still have to load up. So I'm gonna leave this sitting here. When I get back, I'll pull out the the cowling, and the cowling's packed full of goodies. We'll see what's in there. So give me a second and I'm gonna go flying and I'll be back to finish this up. I'm back. That was kind of fun. Kind of a long drive, round trip, 80 miles, but it was worth it. Had some fun. Let's get back to this. These are the push rods for the elevator. Not sure what these little push rods are for, but I'm sure I'll find out. Looks like there's a little slight bend in them that can be taken out real easy. No problems there. The wheel wells. They're painted. You need to trim them up so they fit down inside the wing. And they're marked. I don't know if you can see it, but there's an R right here for right, and an L on this one for the left. Not much to say about those. ABS plastic. Yeah, that's about it for that. It's a wing tube. It's not too bad. Fairly heavy. Wing tube's a wing tube, right? It's definitely not carbon fiber, but it will do the job. Decal sheet. They're not too bad. They're not exactly the correct colors for the chevrons, but what do you expect for an ARF, right? There's some, I think these are supposed to be some kind of a swastika perhaps, but I don't know, it don't look like it. I don't know what those are supposed to be. Some external decals for, actually they're stickers. And it says coolant and safety stuff, and these are the gas and a bunch of other little access things, access panels and numbers. Not sure what it, if it's a Mylar or anything like that. I'm not sure, but they're decals. decoration. Okay, the cowling. Let's start with the inside of the cowling. These are the retract landing gear covers. What I do with my blade. Let's take a look at these. Package of screws to hold them on. And we have the covers. Peel these out. Just pull one out. Well, the colors match the wing, at least. The plastic probably has to be trimmed off fairly close. These screws probably go in around it, so it glues, or it screws right onto the covering. Fiberglass work is not too bad. There's a couple of spots around the edges that really need to be taken down so it sits more flush. Right here is a spot, and over here and down here. I don't know if you can see that or not in the video, but that's that. Put this back in here so I don't get scratched up. Okay, I'll set these off to the side. What else we got? Wheels and tank. Some other things in here. Looks like it's just taped. Take the tape off. Fuel tank. Doesn't say how big it is. These are used for the DLE35, which is their recommended motor to bring it out from the firewall a little bit, the engine. Hardware in this, there are the pull cables, control horns for the surfaces, and clevises for the servo end. What else they got in here? Well, let me open it up and dump it out. See what in the world's really in here. If I can get it to open. Huh. There we go. Okay. This is the cable. Clevises. More clevises and some kind of a composite horn with some clevises, probably for the flaps, I would imagine. Another pull cable. These look like control horns, possibly for ailerons or elevator and rudder, and assorted screws to put it all together with. We have wheels. Well, I'm curious about the wheels myself. One thing I don't like is extremely cheap wheels, so we'll find out what these are like. See if I need to replace them or not. These are a hard foam. Not thoroughly impressed with them, really. They're not low bounce by any means, but they're not extremely bouncy. But it is a foam, plastic hub, some kind of a resin hub of some kind. Nothing spectacular here. They're usable, but ugly. All right, what do we have here? This is for the fuel tank. These rubber rings here, I don't know what in the world those are for. But that goes to the fuel tank. What else we got in here? These are springs. And these springs, I don't know if you can see them or not, they're a little over 1 inch long, maybe 1 1/4 inches. What they do is they slide over top of the air hose right next to the retract. so they can make a bend without cracking, I guess. That's the primary idea. They do bend real good. We'll see how that works. Okay, get back in there, guys. There we go. Okay, one more. And these are short, threaded rod, threaded on both ends. No idea what they go to. Something I'll find out later on down the road. Okay, throw this back in here. I'm not too worried about putting everything back in the bag at the moment. I'll put the hose in there, put that over there, like that. All right. What else we got? These look like the exhaust stacks for the side of the cowling. Let's take a look at one of those. More plastic parts to cut out. Painted flat black. It looks like you trim them up to fit onto the cowling. We'll look at that up against the cowling in a minute. They give you a spinner. Good size spinner. It's plastic. Nothing real special about it. These are the machine guns that slide into the wing in the front of the wing. Just black plastic that resemble a machine gun barrel. I'm not sure what these other pieces are here, but I guess we can find out, let you know what they are. Oh, by the way, on the retract, that little valve with the arrow on it I was talking about, didn't know what it was. What that is where you put your air into the system, and it looks like you use like a basketball inflator type needle to go in there. I didn't see that part in here. This is going to be difficult. These are something. Oh, an aerial. Probably for the top of the fuselage somewhere. A little pretend aerial. And the machine gun, simulated machine gun barrels. Plastic pegs, basically. They look like that. Okay, put these back in the bags. What else we got in here? Now this is interesting, these things right here. This wood actually bolts onto the fuselage where the wing is, and it's for measuring the CG. Bolted on this way, and you put a string through these holes right here, and they even give you the string for it. Well, no, you don't. You put wing nuts in here. Yeah. And you hang it from the wing nuts. Different, interesting. An aluminum tube. I'm not sure what that's for. I'm not going to look it up at the moment, but definitely for bracing up something. Servo trays. These are for the flaps. They're just little chintzy plywood servo trays that slide into the wing, and they screw down inside. There's a little place in the wing, I don't know if you remember seeing it, where the flap hole is, where you can screw these down and mount your servos. And some engine mounting hardware, the standoffs, the screws, blind nuts, some other spacers, and some wooden spacers in addition to what I already showed you. Now we have the cowling. Oh, got some tape stuck. Okay. There's the cowl. Fairly nice, really. These guys sit on here. Once you get them cut out, they'll look much better than just that. Okay, hold it up. So you just have this little inner part cut out, slides over top of this rise right there, and you glue it down, and supposedly you're good to go. That is pretty much it on this unpacking of the P-40. There are some interesting things on it that are worth mentioning, I think. And where to go? Well, on the wings, for example, you have the cutout for the wheel well. Then you have the fairing that goes on the wing, and you have to cut that to the width of the landing gear, which I believe was 27 millimeters or something like that wide, and exactly how long I don't recall, but that has to be cut. The construction on the fuselage, for the roundness of the fuselage on the top, what they did is they corrugated sheet balsa. It looks like a piece of cardboard that's been corrugated, and that gives it the ability to wrap around. Kind of interesting way to put on sheeting. Personally, I think it's built fair, not real heavy. The way I fly, it'll probably be okay. If you do rough landings every now and then, like I do, you might find some problems with the landing gear. And the cowling is really very, very squishy. It probably wouldn't hurt to lay a couple of layers more of glass on the inside to get rid of that squishiness, because when they get squishy, they tend to crack easier because they flex. And the more it flexes, the more it fatigues. The more it fatigues, the easier it is for it to crack. So that's another thing I'm going to have to look at. But all in all, I think it was a good buy for all the coupon codes and stuff I had with it. And it was under $300 delivered to the door. And it's a good home for my Quadra 35. That's just about it for this video. I hope it gave you some inside information. If you have any questions about it, just shoot me a message and I'll see if I can answer it the best I can. And I don't think there's much more to talk about. So I'm gonna sign off here and probably get some work done on it. So until then, the next video, which will be Cougar 15, 16, I gotta look. So until then, have a good one.